Hi, this video is on how to create a search map that you're going to need for your project. This is a review, of creating search maps, and we covered this in 6230, which was Brian McNeil's research methods class. If you're comfortable already with creating search maps, there's no need to continue with this video. However, if you're all unsure about the process, you should watch the rest of the video. So to go over it again, in this video, we're going to cover how to use Pico to develop your search question, creating or writing out your search question, mapping the main concepts for your research project, finding the subject headings you need for your search map, finding those additional keywords or free text words that you need to add to your search map to make your search as exhaustive as possible, and finally, creating your search map. So, the rest of this video is about a demonstration on the steps involved in creating that search map. So for this demonstration and for subsequent tutorials, I will be using this scenario. This scenario represents the initial brainstorming session that you might have with your project, and it's going to be discussed with your group and advisor to develop your search project idea. So one of the big problems that patients experience post-stroke is balance impairment. Traditionally, standard physiotherapy and rehabilitation exercises have been used to improve balance in patients following a stroke. However, you've heard that there has been some interesting research looking at the use of kinesio tape to assist with the balance following a stroke. Is there any evidence to support this? So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use Pico to help me identify the main concepts for developing my search question and search map. From that scenario, I have identified stroke patients as the population. The intervention I'm interested in is kinesio tape. And this is going to be compared to traditional physiotherapy techniques used in this situation. What I'm hoping to find is research showing that the intervention improves balance. And finally, I'm hoping to find high-level evidence-based research, such as randomized controlled trials. So again, here is that broader scenario. And this is the precise question that I developed using Pico to help identify the main concepts. Are there randomized controlled studies that show that kinesio tape is effective in improving the balance of patients following a stroke? So we need to remind ourselves what we need to do when it comes to searching. That is, what is our search strategy? Here is the full Pico again. Now it's important to fully develop the Pico. This gives us a full understanding of the project. However, when it comes to developing our search strategy, we typically only look at the patient population, the intervention, and study design if we're using that. Including the full Pico in our search is problematic. It makes the search very difficult and narrow, which causes us to lose useful and important results in our search. We only want to search what we need. A lot of you want to include the outcome in the search, but this is something expert searchers don't include. The combination of population and intervention will lead us to articles on the outcomes that we want. Yes, excluding the outcomes or too specifically, or more specific outcomes, will bring in other unwanted articles and different outcomes into our search results. But it is okay, and we're going to be we're going to need to be willing to accept and ignore those articles in order to increase the number of positive hits on the articles that gives us the outcomes that we are looking for. So here I'm going to start building a search map. I'm going to do this in a couple of stages. First, I'm going to show you how to build a search map without the study design concept included. I'm going to do this because not everyone is going to need to build a search map with this element. I will then add the study design concept to the map to demonstrate how this is done for those that are including that element in their search. So I'm going to start by drawing a two-column search map. In the first column, I'm going to put in the population concept, which is stroke patients. It's a good idea to keep the concepts very simple at this stage. We can add more detail if we need to later, and if we find that our search map is too broad, but it's always better to start broader and then narrow as you go along. So stroke is all I'm going to include at this stage. Next, I'm going to add the intervention concept. The next step is to add subject headings to the concepts in my map. To do this, I went to Ovid Medline and found subject headings that are used in Medline. Note, these are Medline subject headings. The other databases that I need to search for this project may use different subject headings to reflect those concepts, and I'm going to need to find those when I'm doing those searches in those databases. You can see here that the stroke concept should be exploded. So I included that detail in my search map, and I indicated that by putting the EXP in front of the word stroke. The slash after the subject heading word indicates that the subject heading, this is a subject heading that is used in my map. This is how Ovid Medline indicates subject headings. So that's what I use. You can use whatever you want to do in your own map, as long as it is clear that the word or phrase that you have identified it in your subject, search map, is the subject heading. If you need a refresher on how to find subject headings, refer to the subject heading videos in the protocols tutorial. The next step is to identify common words and phrases, which are also known as synonyms, and that can be used to describe that concept. I do this because while subject headings do a fantastic job of capturing a lot of the articles on that concept, sometimes they are not added to all the articles in the database that I want to find. So to capture those articles, I need to add these keywords and phrases to capture those articles too. You really need to do this in advanced searching, such as your PT 7500 research project, and especially if you're doing systematic and Scopian reviews. I repeat that same process for the intervention section of the search map. If I've identified that study designs are not an important part of the search, I will need to add a third, if I have identified that study designs are an important part of that, my search map, I will need to add a third column to my search map, which I will do to begin looking for those types of studies. So what do I need to include in that third column of my search map? Well, it's called search filters. Search filters is the term that is commonly used to identify study design concepts. There are two ways in which you can apply a search filter. You can build your own, and what I mean by your own is sort of your own, is that you're going to use ones that have been built and validated by a third party. So it really doesn't require a lot of understanding. Well, it requires understanding on your end, but you don't really need to reinvent the wheel at this point. You can use what others have done. That's a great strategy. The other way to do this is I can use the database's pre-built filters. You can find a video on this database searching tutorial if you want, and let me catch up to this. You can find a video on this database searching tutorial if you want to see how this is used. The one thing to note is that the database's pre-built filter, about the database's pre-built filter, is the recall level, making sure that you've captured everything that you want, and the database filter is not always at the highest level. So you may, again, want to use a third-party filter for your particular project if you want to find all of the articles using your study design concept. So let's build, and I'll put that in quotation marks, our own filter. In this concept map, you can see I'm now added the third column for randomized controlled trials. And the first thing, again, I want to do is I want to go to a database such as Medline and see if there's a subject heading for that study design. And I have identified one here in Ovid Medline, and randomized controlled trials is the subject heading in the Ovid Medline. And you can see again here, I put the EXP in front of it to indicate that it can be and should be exploded. And then I add the needed keywords to flesh out that idea. Note I have used the wildcard on the word random and control. This will find the variations of those terms that I need to search, i.e. random, randomly, randomize, control, controlled, etc. I have used those two words because when it comes to searching for study designs, and particularly those that are randomized controlled trials, the word random, randomized, etc., controlled, etc., are often used in articles. And even when the word or the phrase randomized controlled trial hasn't been used in the article, it can be a good indication that that article is about randomized controlled trials if those words appear in the title or abstract, and especially in articles where the subject heading randomized controlled trials has not been applied. RCT is an acronym that can be also included in the search. You can also use, again, like I said, the databases filter, and we'll do that in a different video on the searching video, so check that out in the tutorials. So what I'd like to do now is give you a demonstration on where to find those third-party filters. And you are going to find those in the physical therapy or the PT 7500 assignment help. So I'll look over here, and what you can see here is I've got a couple of different places where I have them. I have an Ovid, Medline, and Embase filters spreadsheet. You can open that up, and let's just click that, and I will drag that over. And here you can see some filters that I've built for, or that have been built using a third party. They're not my own, for randomized controlled trials, because that's what I'm using, and I can just copy and paste those and put those directly into Medline. I have another section down here a little bit further using search filters. And these are some links in where you can go in and find different types of filters depending on the study design that you're looking for. So I encourage you to take a look at those and include those in your search map. That's all I have for this video. I hope you find it helpful. And I'm going to stop share and end the recording. Thanks.